Sorry, Papa, what did you say?
Mentoring program. Please, can you all hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. So we'll be having what's the word? A welcoming speech, which will be taken by Uncle Wale. He will take us further on that while we're awaiting our other participants as they join the meeting. So Uncle Wale, the floor is yours. A little bit of welcoming of our guests.
Okay. Good afternoon once again, everyone. My name is Oluwole Olatunde, and I'm delighted to welcome everyone on board for the April edition of the Legal Learning Mentorship Program, Mentoring and Learning section. It's a monthly event, and it's been a wonderful time. Each time we meet together on this platform to have a mentoring and a section to learn basic areas of law. And I'm so much delighted this afternoon because we are together here, and I want to welcome everyone on board. I want to welcome all the Legal Learning Mentorship Program team members all the Legal Learning Mentorship Program team members and everyone joining us on board this afternoon. I want to particularly welcome on board Ms. Juliana, Imam, joining us, and also one of our speakers who will be speaking to us this afternoon. We are also expecting the second speaker in person of Mr. Sam Osamolu, my pastor, my mentor, will also be joining us soon. So I want to implore us to relax and get our writing materials ready, because we'll be getting certain information that will be useful for us and for our practice of law and generally. So please, let's get ready and be prepared for this section. So I welcome us once again to this event. Now, I will just do my welcoming charge alongside with this. And I will just give us a little introduction of what the Legal Learning Mentorship Program is all about and what we stand to achieve. So the Legal Learning Mentorship Program is actually a program that provides platforms for mentoring, for training and capacity building for lawyers at different phases of their practice of law. And this idea is conceived from my personal discovery in life, particularly relating to the practice of law, that we cannot be successful. One cannot be successful in this practice of law if you decide to isolate yourself and you decide to do it alone. So you need to leverage on the platforms and on opportunities, relationship that you have around you to be able to acquire the requisite knowledge, exposure, and experience in the practice of law. And that was what led to the idea behind the Legal Learning Mentorship Program, so that the younger generation will have a platform that bridge the gap between them and the very senior generation, that's the senior lawyers. So I shared with us some times ago my own personal experience recently, where I met a senior advocate in court, and I was so much impressed with the delivery and the presentation, and I requested to meet, to have a one-on-one meeting with the senior advocate, collected his contact and all of that. But up till now, we are still in the process of having such a physical meeting. So because this is a challenge, most times the younger generation find it difficult to access the very senior lawyers because of the tight schedule and the engagement of the senior lawyers. So we need such a platform whereby we can have access to one or two people that are probably you've seen what they're doing, you admire to get closer to them, but you've not been able to access them, you don't have the privilege of getting closer to them. So a platform like this bridge that gap, make the very senior lawyers, provide a provision for the very senior lawyer to come, and then the younger lawyers learn from them. And mentoring is something that as a professional, we cannot overemphasize, because one of the privilege of mentoring is that it enables you to leverage on the experience, on the exposure of your mentors. So you don't need to go through the bitter experience or through what your mentors have gone through in order for you to achieve the results, or even achieve more results than they have been able to achieve. So, and the one thing about mentoring is that you have to be consistent about it, both the mentor and the mentee, in order for you to achieve the desired result. So these are some of the reasons why we have this platform. And on Legal Learning Mentorship Program, we give particular attention to mentoring, and that's why we have a monthly section on mentoring. We give attention to training, because we believe that training and retraining, learning and relearning is one of the things that distinguish anyone in any endeavor in life. And then we also give attention to capacity building. So there are certain things that we need to know, which may not be law related, but they are very, very important for us to build a successful law practice. And so these are issues that come to mind when we talk about capacity building and capacity building section. So these are our focus in legal learning. We are still expanding our drive and our vision, and we believe that we'll be able to achieve much more than expected in times to come. So once again, I welcome every one of us to this platform where we learn and where we also get equipped on the basic things and certain things that we need to know in life and regarding practice of law, which are left for us to actually search for and discover on our own. So I will hand us over to Okoyoluwa, the moderator, to continue the remaining section of this meeting. So over to you, Okoyoluwa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wale. Thank you for the welcome address. So our speaker, your first speaker is Mrs. Juliana Imam. Before she takes the floor, I'd like to read a brief profile so we can at least know a little bit about her. So Juliana Imam is an intellectual property and entertainment lawyer, a global shaper, that's the World Economic Forum, a World Intellectual Property Review leader for 2021. She's the founder of JIICP, Stammer Foundation, and the co-founder of NigerianCompany.com.
Yes.
Through her firm, JIICP, Juliana Imam is the convener of 1. JIIPCC Intellectual Property Mentorship and Internship Program. 2. JIIPCC Artificial Intelligence and Technology Mentorship and Internship Program. 3. IP Catch-up. Through her quarterly mentorship and internship programs in IP and AI for students, young practitioners, startups, and enthusiasts across Africa, she's able to give her mentees access to valuable professional and career advice, training, network, mentorship, internship, discussion forums, industry updates, and resource materials from volunteer experienced mentors. Her program seeks to encourage continuous education, training, development, innovation, creativity, and evolution in Nigeria, Africa, and the world at large. So having heard of this, I'm sure that we're very expectant to hear what Mrs. Juliana has for us. So Mrs. Juliana, ma'am, please can you take the floor now, ma'am?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, and thank you also to the organizers of this program. I would like um, to greet Mr. Samuel, Pastor Samuel Osamolu, um, a lecturer of the Nigerian Law School, and it's an honor to be on the same platform with you, sir. Well done. Welcome, sir. And I think that mentorship is something that's very important. I also run a mentorship program. So seeing what the organizers are doing here, I think it's something that is really important for people and for young practitioners. So I'll just be taking the topic from different opportunities that we have in the intellectual property space. So first of all, before you can even begin to find opportunities, you have to know what you want to do, first of all. So there are like several spaces in IP and in law generally. And I remember before going to law school, I worked with PANAF, Mr. Jide. He runs like a training institute, and he also publishes books also for lawyers and other people alike. So I worked with him for a while, and I remember something he told me. He said, so many people are struggling because they are trying to get things they are focusing on just litigation, and there are other areas where people can focus their passion and also make a living from. And as at then, I think he had not done his master's as at then. It was just a law degree and all that, but he was running a very profitable organization. So I took it to heart, and when I finished school, by the time I was done with law school, I got married immediately. And I used to sing. So I got to a point where things were not very clear for me, and I didn't understand what was going on because I was signed to a particular manager, and I decided to go and read about music business, entertainment law, and all that. And it was from there that I started seeing things about it, and I was so excited. And that excitement made me to start like talking about IP online, lecturing people about IP. And as I started doing it, people started reaching out to me, and that's how my career in this thing started. But I remember when I was doing it, some people were laughing at me then that is it not you that would just read and then you study on YouTube and then you come and talk and all that. But today, like, I'm far from where I started from. So first of all, and I remember when I was going to do my master's, I was thinking of doing my master's in like all those fanciful
Yes, sir.
places like maritime, taxation, energy, oil and gas. But my husband told me, why would you go and learn something fresh when you already have a passion and you're already working in the entertainment industry? Why not learn something that is in the entertainment industry that is in line with your passion, and you can also learn the legal side? And that was how I went to do my master's in entertainment and sports, and then the career then began from there. So first of all, I would like to say that before you can even see and maximize opportunities in the IP space, you have to be sure that, okay, this is what I want to do. Now, it's not everybody so for most IP practitioners I've seen, some already had passion for creativity and entertainment. For example, I know someone that used to dance, so she went into it and now she's an IP lawyer. I know someone else that was into tech and then he worked on it and merged it with the legal side. I know someone that used to sing. I know someone that used to write. So for some of the lawyers that are in this IP space, they already have a creative side. But I also know some people that don't have those creative sides to them, but they love IP. So they're also working in that space. However, there are some people that think that intellectual property practitioners or entertainment lawyers are maybe people that didn't pass well, third class, pass, all those people. So they're just trying to find their way around. Yeah, for some people, that's it. But I also know of some people that are in the IP space that had first class. So I don't think it's about that. What I just advise is that, first of all, you know what you want to do. Try and be clear about that so that when you're coming into this space, you are a bit sure. Then for coming into this space, when you come into IP, there are several. So when you hear IP, it's as if it's something small, but when you come in, you discover that there are a lot of areas under IP. So for example, some people are under the academic side. So what they do is they just research, they teach and all that, but they don't have the practical side to what they're doing. So for this kind of people, some are lecturers and all that. So if that's what you want to do, you can just learn it. And then you begin to write books and you begin to teach IP. Another IP, there are several things that you can specialize in: copyright, patent, trademark, industrial design, there are trade secrets, geographical indication, traditional knowledge, cultural expression, plant variety, genetic resources. So all these things are different areas. Now, for me, when I started, I focused on music. However, I noticed that when I was invited to radio stations or TV stations, even though I focused on music, people were asking me questions on patents, trademark. So I had to go and study about the other areas of IP. So aside from the fact that you may want to focus on one, you can also have an idea of the other areas in IP. So if you're not focusing on academics, some people are into research and development, R&D, getting facts and all that, statistics about things, some researching into like the actual innovations and all that. So if that's what you also want, you can also work on that. So I know someone that through his R&D, he actually created a platform where he can link people that are into R&D with people that actually need their services. So that's also another. Then there's also the film. If you're interested in films, so there are like several people in the film industry that need lawyers. So for example, some might need to review their contracts, financing and all that. So you can also decide that, okay, I want to specialize in this film industry, and then you can focus on that. If you do not want to focus on the film industry, you can decide to focus on the music industry like I started. So for the music industry, there's like the music business, publishing, licensing, copyright, and every other thing that is in the music space. So you can decide to learn about that and work in that area. If you don't want to work in that area, I know someone that is big on geographical indication. Now, Nigeria is not yet a signatory to the Lisbon Agreement and some other, and they have not yet like created like a law for that and all that. So people can protect whatever they want to protect, maybe going around using trademark and all that. But I know that most of these foreign organizations now, like some of the foreign organizations now are putting in money. They are actually putting money into the awareness and the understanding of GI, that's geographical indication, and that's still under trademark. So you can decide to look into that area. Then there are the innovative parts. So we have like those in tech that also need AI. So IP, sorry. So you can also see what you can do around there. There are just so many things. And then the basic things, because for example, when a client, maybe like a startup, comes into your office or says that, okay, they want to talk to you and all that, they won't come and say, some will not come and say, oh, I need a copyright. They might just come and say, okay, I have this startup, I have this innovation. They'll just tell you like stories and all that. So it's when you meet with them that you would know, okay, from everything they said, they would need an industrial design protection. Maybe like for someone that is in fashion, okay, you would need to have like a protection for your industrial, that's like industrial design protection for your textile or your design. You would need to trademark your name. If you have sketches, you would need to do a copyright. If you have things that are innovative about what you are doing, like specific innovations to what you are doing, we can also try patent. Are there staff that you are working with? Are there people that you would like to keep your confidential information? Then you will need to protect that trade secret by keeping it secret and then using an NDA. Are there, do you want to move into other territories? You might need to do like a prior art search to know what is going on there so that you don't infringe on them, on their stuff. You need to consider, do you want to franchise? Do you want to license? How are you protecting your IP valuation? What is your management stuff? What is your strategy? What's your IP strategy? So all these things are things that, but you might not know everything in one day, but those are things that you begin to pick and all that. So IP is interesting if you like it. So I know that my husband did his master's in ICT law, and he used to tell me that one of the courses that they had to do was IP, and he said it was so boring and he didn't understand it. But after he got married to me and I now developed interest in, because coincidentally I didn't do IP in school. I didn't know anything about IP. I just, I just mistakenly crashed into it like that. So it was from my excitement, and since I was always talking about it online and all that, that was when he that did his master's in it now even understood what it was. So it takes like a level of passion from you. So what I would advise people is have a core, something that even if they wake you up from sleep any day, you can talk about under the IP space. So I know some people, like a lot of people, that when you check for them online, you see IP experts, IP professional and all that. But I know that their strength is film, or their strength is music, or their strength is tech, or their strength. So I know their strength, but the thing is that they know things about other areas. So when they have a client in their area of strength, they might work with the client on that area. But when they do not, when they have a client in maybe film now and they're into music, they might collaborate with another person that is stronger in film to assist. Then how can you start actually? So people start in different ways. And then there's the litigation part too, because for some people, you have to go to court. So for those people, it's good that you have the litigation background so that you can effectively carry out your client's demands and all that. However, if you don't have that background, you can always collaborate with someone that can take care of the litigation part. And then there's the alternative dispute resolution. So in some of the contracts, they make provisions for that, so that where there are conflicts, you can first go through ADR, and then if it does. So for some people in IP, they also merge ADR with it. So they get all the certifications so that they can also do that. So everybody has different ways that they come into this space. I know some people that first started with litigation and all that, and then they then developed interest in IP, so they put the two. While some people did not have that litigation background, but they know the corporate side and all those things of IP registrations and all that. So they now, so they collaborate when it comes to litigation. So I don't think that anybody should be scared of starting, because as I said, like for me, I started like mostly like a housewife, doing everything from my home. So, okay, I'm sorry. So I didn't have like the litigation side of it. I'll stop here, sorry, because my son just woke up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Juliana. We appreciate your time, and thank for giving us for this insight into the opportunities in the intellectual property world. So I will just do a recap of one or two things I learned from it. There are different areas of on IP, which ranges from whether you are going into music or you are going into registration of patents, of work and innovation. So you also have the academic aspects, which could just be specifications and all of that. I know we've had a section on how we can leverage on the research and development. I think that was in February. And then we also have, according to her, we also have the aspects of litigation. For those of us that are litigation freak, you could also leverage on that. So studying on the various areas in which IP and creative work will be breached, and then you can institute action. I remember someone was sharing with us his experience, myself and a colleague, how some people now use the opportunity of registration to leverage on intellectual property of people. So you have a name or you have an innovation and you've not registered it and you're already using it. So such people will go to either register a website or anything in that name, because they know that later in the future you might want to have such registration. And when the time comes, you will be forced to negotiate with them in order for them to allow you to use that registered platform or maybe website and all of that. So litigation could come in respect of that. And there is something she also said that is very profound. You don't actually need to have a background in intellectual property before you could do anything in that field. Just have the passion. Just have the passion, and then start reading up, start researching, ask questions, and before you know it, you are there. So we want to appreciate Ms. Juliana once again for your time and for this presentation. We are grateful. And I would just want to ask if probably we have anyone or any question for her. Please, you can drop your question on the chat box. We are going to take the question and answer session together. And if there are questions that we cannot even answer now, you can always reach out to us on our various platforms. So thank you very much, Juliana, for your time. So I will hand us over to Okolua to take the profile of our second speaker, our daddy and our mentor, Pastor Samuel Osamolu, who will be taking us on the very important topic on how we can mine workplace relationship for profitable practice. So I will hand us over to Okolua. Okolua, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wale. Thank you very much, Mrs. Juliana. I really learned a lot from all you said. So I'll be reading the profile of our daddy, Mr. Samuel Osamolu. So Mr. Samuel Osamolu, Adedoyin Osamolu, is a trained legal practitioner from University of Ibadan, where he obtained the BL honors. He had his LLM from University of Lagos. He is currently the director and head of academics at the Nigerian Law School, headquarters Bwari. He is a renowned scholar and author of law books, a teacher and mentor of mentors. He is also currently the assistant pastor in charge of CSR, APICP, FCT Province 14, and the pastor in charge of RCCG, Hall of Mercy Bwari. He is married and blessed with wonderful children. I welcome Pastor Osamolu Samuel to take the floor, sir. Daddy, the floor is open for you to take over, sir.
Thank you, my distinguished colleagues, for this privilege to be part of your program today. You will pardon me, I'm actually at a function, but I'm moving away from the noise so that, so in about 2 minutes, I will speak.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, sir. So while we are waiting for Daddy to join us fully, can we have 1 or 2 questions from anyone on Miss Juliana's presentation? Any question from anyone for Miss Juliana? Or can someone share with us what are the other things you learned from our presentation while we wait for Daddy to join us? Okay, I can see a question on the chat box. For those interested in doing their master's in IP, what school do you advise we look at? I don't know if Miss Juliana could respond to this, or she could just answer by sending the answer to the chat box. Okay.
Okay. So in Nigeria, I think there's some schools that run their masters in IP, while some just do general LLM. I think Babalola University does an IP masters, and Nasarawa State University does theirs in IP, and they also have entertainment and sports law. Then outside the country, I think you just have to check online for different schools that run it. So I don't have a specific school because I did mine in Nasarawa State University. But I know that there's some private universities in Nigeria that also run their masters, and then in IP, and then a lot of foreign schools too, because I know some of my mentees reach out to me to write referrals for them to go to foreign schools, maybe some in Canada, some in UK, but I'm not sure of their names right now, but please just do a research, please. Thank you. Okay, I'm seeing a second question that if I'm interested in IP, do I need a master's degree in IP to commence? The answer is no. You don't even need to be a lawyer to practice intellectual property. So for you to carry out a copyright registration, you do not need to be a lawyer. For you to carry out a trademark registration, you don't have to be a lawyer. For you to register patents, you don't have to be a lawyer. For you to practice IP generally, you don't have a lawyer. So in my program, there's some people that are there that are not even lawyers. And if you listen to WIPO talk about IP, they even encourage people that are not lawyers to be IP practitioners. And if you're looking at patent registrations and all that, the people that examine some of these things are not lawyers, because if you have a technical solution, a lawyer would not know about it. So the lawyer might just look at the form, but the person that would look at the novelty and all that are people that are not lawyers. That's like the administrative part of IP and all that. So you don't even need a lawyer to practice IP. You don't even need to be a lawyer to practice IP. So if you don't need to be a lawyer, that means even with a school cert, you can do it. So you don't need a master's to practice IP. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ma, for that. We appreciate that. And I think the last our last statement is very profound to all of us here, the legal practitioners, that the IP world is full of non-lawyers, and is an area of law that lawyers, we don't actually have so much lawyer. I remember some years ago I was working in a law firm, and an international organization reached out to us, and they basically just want a law firm that will help them to undo their IP work in Nigeria. And I got to know that that's how they have legal representation in all jurisdictions, because intellectual property is something that's cut across all jurisdictions. And we have similar application. Please, can we unmute ourselves? Okay. Please, let's meet ourselves in case your mic is on. So intellectual property is an area of law that cut across different jurisdictions and all of that. And you don't actually need to be a lawyer to do that, but it's an advantage if you're a lawyer, because it also gives you more opportunity to look at different areas, particularly the legal related aspects. So it's just like taxation when we have non-lawyers into taxation, and then when the lawyers come in, they look at the legal aspect of taxation. So I believe that there will always be the legal aspects of intellectual property, which would be an added advantage to us as legal practitioners. So I just want to confirm if that is ready
Yes,
with us now. Okay, sir. So over to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you. The lead anchor of legal learning and mentoring platform, Mr. Oluwole Olatunde. And I want to also acknowledge and appreciate Mrs. Imam Juliana, who spoke, and I followed your presentation on IP opportunities in IP, and I have also enriched my knowledge. I also count it a privilege to, like you, to be on the same platform with you and with all the legal learning minds on the platform across the world. Like I said, I count it a privilege. I've been asked to speak to the topic managing workplace relationship or mining the opportunities from workplace relationship. And more or less, from my discussion with Wale, I think he wants it spontaneous, drawing from one or two experience. By the grace of God, sometimes a few months' time, I just been now 3 decades at the bar, and 2.5 of those decades I have spent at the Nigerian Law School as lecturer, and the 4 to 5 years before then, I had the opportunity of working in law firms in Kaduna, where I started, and also I moved to Lagos. I practiced at Oshere, some law firms, and finally I started my own law firm, a partnership with a friend and a childhood friend that in school together, both from secondary to university and Nigerian law school. So it's always been our dream to have a law firm. So, but we wanted to cut our teeth, our legal teeth, under mentors, under seniors, and that took us. When I say I was in Kaduna, we were there together, and I would share from all those backgrounds, both as a young lawyer in a private law firm. The first law firm that I practiced with happened to be one that published law reports as well. The Supreme Court of Nigeria judgment, if you check in 94, 95 editions, that was by the late Chief Bayo and Kolokun of Constitution Road, Kaduna. See my name on the editorial board. Now, those who know Chief Bayo and Kolokun know that he was such a fantastic advocate and a litigation, passionate about litigation. He just wanted litigation, particularly in the superior courts, High Court, Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court. Those were where our matters usually were in those days. And we had some of those top clients. And I remember my first day in court. It was at High Court, Kafanchan, and I represented the Central Bank of Nigeria in an application. Now, but my senior has this, that's my employer, the principal of Adukoloko and Co. has a wonderful way of relating with particularly young lawyers who just joined the chamber. And he expressed a lot of admiration for CV and everything. But he told me, you must prove your worth this place. So when he gave me the file, I didn't know my way in Kaduna to Kafanchan, and I didn't ask enough questions. So I just felt, well, this is a brief for me, and I need to just go. So he gave me some money then, which he said would be enough for my journey to and fro. But that was all he said. And I went to the advice I should get to the court by the fastest means. So I went by a saloon car to Kapachi. After my matter was taken, I discovered that I had I had not managed the funds that was given. I shouldn't have gone by a car. Perhaps I should have gone by bus because the money wasn't enough again. And now I don't speak the language of the place, which was Hausa, and that was a big shock that I got. My first outing as a post passing out lawyer after I passed out from NYC. Well, somehow, I managed my way and got back to the office the next day. And obviously, he knew what happened. He knew that I didn't have the street wisdom to detect the trap he seemed to have set for me. And I also did not discuss with seniors in office. So, and he did that on two fronts. I'll also say another experience I had uh, as an intro to my topic. The second was he gave me a file to go to Court of Appeal in Kaduna. And on getting there, I didn't really, again, I did not discuss with anybody. I just felt, well, I'm a lawyer, everybody is a lawyer. And, why will I be asking around as if I'm not really competent? That was the way my young mind was operating then. So I went to the Court of Appeal. On getting to the Court of Appeal, I didn't know the routine that when you get there, you have to write your name on the cost list against the matter that you are appearing. That was practice there. I don't know what it is now. So I just got there and I sat down. And when the matter was called, although I was observant, I was appearing, I discovered that my very first appearance at the Court of Appeal was against a very senior and respectable senior advocate that I've been reading about in the law report and never met. And the first time I would be meeting him was that he was on the other side. And I just noticed, okay, people were writing, and I went there, I wrote my name. So when the matter was called, as I announced my appearance, I looked back in the gallery. I saw my principal, Chibayo Alukoloko, in the audience, and he was casually dressed in native. So when he saw I was looking at him, he now came to me. I said, no, I just came to see how you will do. I'm not, you can see I'm not rope, so it's your matter. So swim or you sink. Wow. Thank God the matter went on, and I have fond memory of that, those two initial experiences in court as a young lawyer. I discovered that you cannot be an island when you get to a place, just like Mrs. Imam Juliana has spoken. You first must determine what is your priority, what is your vision, what do you want to focus on and pursue in the legal profession. As you know, the profession is so versatile, it's so vast, and so it is not enough to just say, as a young person, well, I am looking for employment and I have been employed and so be it. As you get to the firm, you must learn so many things about life. You must learn about life. You must learn about uh, human resource management. You must learn finance. You must learn negotiation. You must learn so many skills, about life. So some of them that I didn't go out trying to learn, I paid dearly for it because, like the experience in Kafancha, uh, I almost left in the garage because instead of going to Kaduna, I was taken to a place called Saminaka because I thought the vehicle was going to Kaduna. It wasn't. Because I didn't I'm naturally a bit on the quiet side, so I didn't interact much, and I found myself at the wrong place. So the first thing is that you must know your direction in the profession. What do you want to be, so that informs where you want to look to for employment. I remember all along, I've always loved to be in the academia. Even when I applied to several places because getting into the academic may not be as easy as getting into law firm. So while I was honing my skill to go into the academia, I applied to a number of places, and that first place I worked was but I know that my days there will be numbered. But nevertheless, you can imagine having the opportunity um, to be part of the editorial board at that very tender practice stage. So I was able to join in the editing as soon as we return from court. Go and sit down with the desktop and begin to read through the cases and correct, and then they give you the template for our law report, and a number of cases is assigned to you at no additional remuneration, which is one thing that I will mention later, because I don't know, but permit me to say that it looks like these days some younger practitioners are sharper in that regard. They want, okay, if I'm employed to be a litigation lawyer, well, if I do any solicitor's job, that must be additional remuneration. If I do editorial work, um, that must be additional remuneration. Well, in our time, the principal of the law firm told us point blank that, well, that he's doing us a favor. One, by having our names on the editorial board, that we may not know what it meant then, but that we'll get to do. And then that we'll be entitled to a complimentary copy of every issue of the law report. So that was our remuneration in that regard. But as one that had in mind to be a legal academic, I just seem to believe that, well, that was good because I knew it was going to count for me. Or I hoped that it would count for me. And incidentally, I found it much later, because wherever I go to as a young lawyer and I say, well, I was a member of the board of the editorial board of SCNG, you know, that uh, immediately gives me some leverage. So some of the additional things that you are doing in your present place of employment, look at it more as how does it equip you for the future of your dream in the legal profession, and not just how much money does it put in my pocket in the immediate. Um, because if you do this, one is going to bring a lot of workplace harmony, because there are things that brings workplace disharmony between young lawyers and their employers, especially when you seem to place so much emphasis on monetary remuneration. Remuneration can be in very, very many ways. And I want to say that you should place premium on the remuneration that enriches experience, remunerations that enriches competence, remuneration that gives you exposure. Exposure. If in those days when senior lawyers are talking with their big clients, they hardly will allow you to be around, because they just think these young lawyers, the way their eyes are just shining, let them not go and see our clients behind. But in most places today, I think some of them will bring you in during their client interview session, and that is not a small opportunity that you are given. And so when you have such opportunity, number one thing that I have emphasized is the fact that know your priority. What are you aiming to achieve in the future of your career, your dream career? What is your goal? Number two is, if you want to really leverage on workplace relationship, you must be an intentional learner, a deliberate learner. And what do I mean by that? Um, learning is relative. It's not only when you come into the four walls of a school that you are learning. Um, Learning is also a continuum, and lawyers especially learn for life. So you must be intentional. To be intentional is you are very observant. observant, even how your principal comes to office. How does he dress? Why does he dress the way he does? How does he enter his car? Particularly, for guys these days, you enter your car. I work with some people. Like when I was in Lagos, I worked on the island. I worked on the mainland, and I had these. I think partly British trained senior who will never, as a man, enter his car with his jacket. I used to think that might just be because he will force remove, take off the jacket, hang it neatly. He has a hanger always in his car. So he will hang it and then button very well and so on and so forth. So, but over time, I discovered that was some sort of learning that I did as well in that regard, and I'm always very inquisitive. So I ask questions. I ask a lot of questions that made them to begin to look at me as, oh, this person has a lot of prospects in the profession. So you must be an intentional learner. As an intentional learner, you don't run from assignment. There are people who do what in labor law you call work to rule. You just do what is expected of you only. No. But if you want to harness workplace experience, you must be the extra hand that is there to do some menial things that are maybe not directly related to your legal job, but they are not illegal. Nobody is asking you to do any indecent thing or to do any illegality or unprofessional conduct. But uh, don't also insist that you will only do what relates to your employment and nothing more. I remember before I studied law, I was a law clerk. And my employer then, a lawyer, we started practice in his room then. And he, we became so close over the years that until his passage last year, we still maintained that relationship long after I had left his employment because he didn't employ a secretary then. I had to go to, he wanted me to learn secretarial something, this typing then. No computer, late 80s when I started working. So I was his secretary, I was his clerk, I was so many things. And, um, let me just link that to my third point. My third point would be that endear yourself to your workplace and deliberately make yourself indispensable. That is one value and virtue that I know God has endowed me with. If I work with you, by the grace of God, it may take me time to make up my mind that I want to work in a place. But when I do, by God's grace, by the quality that I will bring, um, notwithstanding my year at the bar, you will rank me. You will put me where you will put your best, not in terms of year of experience, and that's all humility. Um, in most of the places, I remember I worked with someone, one law firm in Akoka. I won't mention any of the names except my employer, the first employer that I mentioned today. Now, at the point, the man gave me some testimonies because when I come to work in a place, I bring everything that I am to bear there, both spiritually, intellectually, and everything. And one day, the man told me, he says, "Sir, do you know?" He said, "Sam, do you know that since you joined this office, the type of briefs we have never gotten, we have been getting it. Even though he gave me testimony how that in fact they got their first brief in foreign currency when I came, even though he never gave me $1 and did not increase my salary, but I was encouraged to know that there is that aura of or that grace upon me that somebody can testify. For those who are Christians on the platform, you remember the story of Jacob in the house of Laban, and in fact, when I told him I was leaving because I wanted to do my master's, and he felt, what do you need a master for? Practice, and you're already here. I have prospect for you. I'm going to double your salary and everything because he said no, I couldn't do my master's and continue to work in the health center. I had to choose one, but that I should look at all the offers on the table. Well, I could be resolute when I make up my mind. So I told him, well, sir, I'll leave. Then he started telling me all the testimony and everything. Because as I got to the office, whatever was outstanding, after I've done my work, they wanted me to draft documents. I drafted. They wanted me to do research and write opinion. I did it with little ability that I have. And I also had some jotters around me where I was jotting things. So once in a while, I just pull out some opinions, some research, and I give to them. So they just know that this young boy is just different. So when I told them I was leaving, they did all they could, but again, I get the human flaw. I knew that this is what I wanted, and again, it's not as if they really gave me any fantastic remuneration like that. So I went to Unilag. It was tough because I had to leave my regular employment, and then came this freelance lawyer. Okay, somebody wanted to do business name, somebody wanted to do this and that. That was close to my wedding period. So, but somehow God saw me through. I finished my master's. I got married. Yeah, I finished my master's, and miraculously, I got employed at the law school. Yeah, I did my master's. Yeah, I got married. Yeah, that I started work at the law school. Again, when I came to the law school, of course, most of my colleagues were my teachers. Those who taught me at the law school, those old men and young men and women that I have always looked at as if, wow, in those days, the law school was one campus. People like the late Babatunde Birunke was our director, and he was just leaving law school when I joined. He became the director general, late Dr. Kole Abayo, the late Duhat, the late Olowo Forward. Those were my HOD and people into whose hand I came, and I became immediately their mentee. I started understudying them. Those days when they give you lecture, when they give you a topic to teach at the law school, as you go to the class, you will just discover that your HOD is at the back, seated there, and you must not talk. When you see them, you just keep teaching. So such was the relationship. And when you leave the class, of course, you go straight to the office to get feedback. And most times they say, "Oh, uh, really, you tried. Next time, do this, do that." And they kept an eye on us, and gradually that helped us. Again, at the law, when I got to the law school, I discovered that sometimes some of the seniors, maybe they have some things doing, and they want somebody to cover up for them. So I joined law school teaching LDC, as we call it then, which is now property law. And it, it's not easy for young people to be given the full topic to go and teach at law school. So the first topic I was given for a whole year was letter writing. And I remember, by the grace of God, most of the materials anybody will find in law school today on letter writing was my brainchild. Because the way I went to do research about letter writing, after I taught it for 1 year, if you go and check the bar final exam of 1998, a full question was asked on legal letter writing because of because of the way I just went about, consulting this, consulting that, the Bible says, whatsoever your hand finds to do with all your might. So I was doing my legal letter writing. Somebody would say, okay, Osamolu, I won't be in class tomorrow. So can you take this topic for me in civil procedure, as we used to call it, not litigation now. Another person, oh, take this course for me, take that course for me. And I joined law school in 97. By 2005, by God's grace, we had only three departments in law school. And I became the youngest head of department of nearly two, because my HOD in company law and commercial practice, Mr. PC Anekwe, had just been made the secretary to the council. So I became the substantive I became the acting HOD of company law. And then I was also the principal person teaching LDC. So I was HOD of company law and commercial practice, and I was overseeing LDC as well until somebody else was appointed to head the unit. How did that happen? Because I don't turn down any extra assignments. It may be a weakness, but I don't know how to say no to my seniors in terms of professional assignments. Do this research for me, I say yes. Do this, although please you give me a little time, but I will surely deliver. Without knowing it, I was honing my skill, I was building competence and building myself. And out of the 5 courses, I was teaching almost 3 to 4 at the point, and that really helped. So as a young lawyer, you are really helping yourself when you take on extra assignment in your workplace, and you don't gain anything by forming cliques, by doing anything that is untoward. If you have to. So the second to the last point I will make is that you have a focus maritally and build personal values, and know your core values and work on them. Don't be one who is just a randy lawyer, randy guy, randy lady, and doing emotional, non-official things in the workplace. Actually, if you're a senior person and you go into amorous relationship with your professional colleagues, you are going to have a very difficult coordinating and commanding respect. So if you want to get to a workplace and you find somebody that you want to marry them, then go serious with it, isolate it, and follow the normal route and carry it to a logical conclusion. But don't do all those side things that people do, and then you can't stamp your feet, you can't be official, you can't be formal, because once all those randy things come in, it compromises your forthrightness. We all know that, so I'm not going to speak much on that, because I guess some people will say, here comes pastor. But it's also very relevant, because we are talking of relationship. You must know where to draw the line. You must know where to draw the line, because human beings are human beings. So whether they are lawyers, whether they are doctors, there are people whose pastime is extramarital relationships. As a young person, don't even go there. So it will affect your own marital journey, and it's also going to compromise your professional uh, advancement and forthrightness. I don't care. Somebody may say, well, but I know somebody who very is a merry-go-rounder, and yet it's still this, that. Well, I only know what I know, and I can only tell you what I practice. By the grace of God, this year, few months time, I'm 25 years in marriage, and God has been kind as to stay focused. You just discover that everything will line up and add up together. for you. So the final thing in the workplace is that I believe that you need a very strong relationship with God, because there are people who believe that. I remember when I was going to call to bar, after I was called, my mother called me and told me what some of her relations told her, that what your son is doing to is a very serious profession, and that all the people they ever know who are a part of that profession must be in one cult or the other. So I told her, okay, so what does she suggest? She says that she's going to consult some people for me. I said, well, you don't need to take that trouble. I already have found a very serious cult to which I have subscribed. And she looked at me with eagerness. I said, I'll tell you more about that cult by 12 midnight. But I wanted to use the opportunity to leave that. So I created that curiosity. She surrendered her life to Christ, and I told her I belong to the cult of God, and nobody will do me. So, but you must be careful where you stand, and this is not a religious platform. But let me just say that you must have a place for God in your practice and build very strong spiritual values. Learn to commit things to the hands of God. Learn to practice your profession in the fear of God and for the common good of humanity. Don't do anything deliberately that compromise your milk of human kindness. In the workplace, learn to separate the good from the bad, the wheat from the chaff. There are some human beings who you see their character in the workplace. You are learning, but what you have learned from such people is not to emulate them. So you are learning both what you will emulate and what you will not emulate in the workplace. So I pray that God will help everybody make you that practitioner of repute that you aim to be. And it takes hard work. It's, when you see good people, benchmark on them and ask them questions. Seniors in the office, how did you achieve this feat? And then when you hear their secret, leverage on it and improve on it, and determine that you are going to be a better person. You are going to be a better version of all your mentors. A lot of people come to me, say they want me to be their mentor. But mentoring, I know that some people who come to me don't really want mentoring. What they want is maybe they just want my social status to just say, oh, we are associated with Osamolu and this and that. It's not as if they really want to open themselves to you to correct, to give them tasks, and for them to report back. If you are a mentee, you must be close to your mentor, and you must be ready for correction. And you must be worried if your mentor is taking it easy with you always and has no time to talk seriously and toughly to you. And when they do that, take it in good strides, and then go and put it into practice and report back. It's a shame really to be corrected twice on an issue. When you are corrected on this, take to that correction and improve on yourself, improve on your writing. Many people these days, they write poorly, they speak poorly. It doesn't come with this. I remember one day, a student came to me and said, sir, I want to be able to talk like you. I said, well, incidentally, I don't even see myself talking as well as the way I want to. I said, but it started a long time ago. I love reading newspapers and novels. I'm a lover of Shakespearean work. I've read quite a number of William Shakespeare's work, and I still do. So this is your profession of choice, willingly and voluntarily. You are not too old to learn. Presently at the law school, we have these open university students. A lot of lawyers don't like them to come into the profession. But by my vintage position, by God's grace, I have seen a lot of positives in taking them into the profession. Some of them are close to 80. In fact, we lost one of them last year who was 80, who will have been 82 this year. You need to see their determination. Some of them are professors. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, sir. We can hear you. Continue, sir.
Oh, okay, but all right. So, some of them are close to their 80s, and you need to see them come to class. And I ask myself, if these 70, 65, 60-year-old people are still pursuing their dreams, some of them will tell me they left university in the 70s, but they had always wanted to study law. How much more? Every young person should do a master's, do a PhD, and do another PhD, and then learn management. And thank God, thankfully these days, you don't need to go to school to learn everything. There's so much that you can do online. There are free certification programs, even coding, elementary things, and management, MBA, whatever you can do to build capacity. This is the time to go for it. Leverage on hard workers, on diligent people, on people who are also straightforward, not crooked. And I tell you, the sky is not your limit. So once again, I congratulate everybody. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you, and permit me to stop.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful presentation. We enjoyed. I personally enjoyed it. It's like you're just like you should not stop, because I've increased my knowledge on so many things that you've mentioned regarding the workplace relationship. And I want to say that same will be for most of us on this platform. Please, can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. You continue, please.
Okay. Thank you. I got disconnected the other time, so I wanted to be sure that I'm back fully. All right. So I want to appreciate Daddy for this insightful presentation, and I believe everyone on this meeting on this call have actually gotten value, and we've learned something new this afternoon. I will just try to do a summary of some of the things that I've penned down that I've noted from Daddy's presentation. The first is that you should be ready to ask questions. Be ready to ask questions. Be ready to learn. One challenge with our time is that we are always full of ourselves, particularly the young ones. We feel we know, and we just want to just act on that presumption. So then there is always a need for us to learn and ask questions, learn and learn and learn. So be open to learn, and you can imagine from Daddy's presentation how he has grown from being a young counsel to being a legal practitioner of 30 years post-call experience. I tell you, everyone on this call, that is not a small work for one to have that level of experience, and for him to be telling us some of these things today from practical experience. So it's something that we need to pay attention to. Another thing I learned from his presentation is that don't shy away from responsibility. accept as much as possible responsibility that comes your way, because you'll become better off. So there's something I usually say, that whatever I do is mine. No matter what, no matter who I do the work for, no matter no matter the effort put in place, it's mine. So do not turn down work, do not turn down responsibility, because you learn and you build such a relationship. All right, so we would like to be drawing up the curtain at this point this afternoon, having heard from our daddy and also heard from Mrs. Juliana on the opportunities that are available or that are banned in the intellectual world. Mr. Ajibola Bello sent a comment on the platform earlier on the fact that we need to understand the concept of intellectual property and intellectual property law. And I actually agree with him that there is a distinction between the concept of intellectual property and intellectual work. So why non-lawyers are involved in intellectual property as a concept, lawyers can actually leverage on intellectual property law, which is the aspect that you and I we need to venture into. And we had a section last year, December, what we discussed on that section, I want to just re-echo it again, is that there are so many untapped opportunity in the legal world. There are so many untapped opportunity in the legal industry and in the legal world that lawyers need to be open up to. So intellectual property law is an aspect of the law of our practice that we need to start venturing into. And I want to say this particularly to the new wig and the younger lawyers on this platform, that please, you don't need to wait until when you get briefs before you learn some of these things. I had a funny experience some years ago, and that has actually opened me. That actually gave me an understanding of the fact that if you wait till when you have briefs before you develop your competence on a particular area, you actually do yourself a disservice. So some years ago, when I came into Abuja newly, I had not done my accreditation with CAC, and so at every opportunity when I have to go through CAC, I had to go through through another colleague. And really, I didn't consider doing an accreditation with CAC as something important. But I tell you, I never get a paying client on CAC matter until when I did my accreditation and I started doing it. And after my accreditation, that was when I started getting paid clients. So don't wait until when you have clients to brief you on intellectual property law. Don't wait until when you have clients brief you on information technology law, or any aspect of law. Just amass the experience and the knowledge, and I tell you, the sky is your starting point. So at this time, we'll be bringing this meeting to an end. I want to appreciate our resource persons, our facilitator, Mrs. Juliana Imam. Thank you very much for your time, and also want to appreciate specifically Daddy Pastor Sam Osamolu for giving us that wonderful presentation. Now we just have few announcements and announcement to make, and then we will end this meeting. The first announcement I want to make is that our learning and mentoring section will be once every month, and it's going to be the last weekend of the month, just like this. So please, let's watch out. Let's keep every last Saturday of the month open for our program. Let's book every last Saturday of the month for our mentoring and learning section. And the point is that we get a whole lot of value and information from this section. So it shouldn't be a platform whereby we beg people to attend. On the legal learning mentorship program, the basic platform, we have over 100 members, but most times we discover that it's more or less that we are persuading people to join and all of that. And I do say that whatever you learn on the platform, you don't learn it from me, you learn it for yourself. because we all attend. So what I gain, what you gain is for yourself. So I want to encourage every one of us to please make it a time for for our subsequent section. And then we started our new week community program, and we'll be having an event on next week Wednesday for our new week community. Particularly, we'll be laying emphasis on some of the things that Daddy said to us regarding workplace, what you should know, what you should do, because we have a group of members of the New Week community that just passed out from NYC youth service, and then there are quite a number of questions in their mind to be answered. So I want to invite every one of us on this call that is a new week to join this section as we brainstorm and we share together what are the things that you should look out for starting your career as a young lawyer, and also employment and employability issues. So the date is on Wednesday, 3rd of May, and the time and other things will be communicated to us on our platform. So we shared earlier the link to join the LLMP platform, the WhatsApp platform, and so please, you can join. You can join our platform, and then from there we take it off for you to join other community that the LLMP have for our members. So we'll be drawing the curtain here. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time and for being a part of this section. We endeavor to make the recording available on our platforms for as many that could not join for one reason or the other. We'll also be uploading some of these recording on our YouTube channels, and for us to further get to watch this recording. So thank you very much. God bless you, and do enjoy the rest of your weekend. I love you all. Do have a wonderful evening. Okay, Mr. Oyekolade, can you hear me? Okay, it's gone. Imisi Oluwa, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Longest time, oh.
Good afternoon, sir.